It is time to talk immigration. Ladies and gentlemen of the United States of America and anyone listening to this around the world, I stand firmly behind my president's decision to temporarily block any and all individuals seeking entry into the United States of America from the 7 countries that breed, feed, and house Islamic extremists who wish to inflict harm on the citizens of my country. Let me explain why. This temporary ban on those seeking refuge within the walls of this nation has not been implemented because of choice and faith. This ban has been set into motion because those individuals fleeing from Iraq, Iran, Syria, Libya, Yemen, and Somalia are predominantly contributed and connected solely by way of region to known terrorist organizations such as ISIS, the Islamic State, who is responsible for coordinating the attacks that have left over 1,200 people dead, strictly outside Iran and Syria. Attacks that were targeted for Westerners, by the way. These 7 countries are governed by the Islamic faith, but that does not mean that Muslims in and of themselves are barred entry into our borders. Rather, individuals who are citizens of the countries I just listed. This is a temporary ban where President Trump is simply saying, hey, everyone just chill where you're at until we can figure out a better strategy to protect the safety and security of our own citizens. That is not too much to ask for those seeking our help, our freedoms, our jobs, our space, and our money. Now, with that being said, I understand where your hearts are when opposing this executive order, and I understand that you more than likely based your decision upon scriptures in the Christian Bible. I understand that you are remembering what this country was founded on, and I understand that you are consistently reciting that this country was not originally ours. So who are we to dictate who can come and go? But the fact remains is that it is now. Too many of you are thinking with your emotions rather than your brains. You're compassionate people, and I love that about you. But your compassion towards those suffering around the world should be coupled with compassion towards those who are suffering here at home. We have more than 50,000 homeless veterans on the streets that they fought to protect. We have 1.5 million people going in and out of shelters on a daily basis. We have 565,000 people living on our streets and in cars, a quarter of which are less than the age of 18. At least 7.5 million Americans are unemployed as of this month. We do not have the monetary resources due to our government paying $481 billion towards welfare in 2017 alone to provide incoming refugees. We do not have the proper economy as of this moment to provide jobs to not only our citizens, but to those fleeing to our country. And that's if they choose to get a job instead of mooching off what we don't even have. And to be quite honest, we just don't have our shit together enough to monitor and control incoming refugees to make sure they're not going to blow this country up. Now, in reference to the prioritization of Christian refugees over Muslim refugees, let me remind you that those individuals in these 7 countries who make themselves known as Christians are systematically harassed, arrested, tortured, and or summarily executed versus individuals who make themselves known as people of the Islamic faith who have natural defense mechanisms due to the similarity of religious ideologies. According to the Huffington Post, Trump's ban did not include any of the Muslim-majority countries where President Trump holds business interests, such as Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Turkey and the UAE. Let me remind you again that all these countries, with the exception of Saudi Arabia, are not sources of significant terrorist activity, hence why their citizens are not currently banned. And to place that label on Saudi Arabia is only based on circumstantial evidence. Every president has done this since Eisenhower, and before that in World War II. This is one step of many for any nation in the defense of their own sovereignty facing imminent threat, which just so happens to now be radical Islamic terrorism. And let me just say one more thing. If you're questioning the legality of President Trump's authorization to implement such an order, you need only look to federal law, which clearly stipulates the right of the President of the United States of America to impose restrictions on immigration as he or she fits for the good of the nation and for any length of time he or she deems the protection necessary. Again, I understand where your hearts are, but the safety and security of the people of this nation is and should always remain the #1 priority. To protest at the airports and march in the streets is your right within established legal processes, just as it is legal right to immigrate to our nation with the legal process allowed, just like every other country in the world. So protest all you want, but you will thank this country one day when you're not in a position that you could be in, should we allow anyone and everyone to continue crossing our borders illegally and without control. It is better to prepare in advance than to fall under attack by people fleeing from the very heart of those chanting death to America. We come first. America comes first. Anyone who disagrees with this is forcing me to question your intentions for this nation.